Okay, good morning. It is a Monday. Obviously, we're kicking the week off strong, training the hardest muscle group of the lot, aka the legs. So today I'm going to be running you through how I go about training my legs in lockdown, how I apply practices such as progressive overload, making sure I'm upping the intensity every single session, as well as the exercises, the rep ranges, and the different techniques I use to make my legs grow. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So you guys want to know all the little secrets I'm applying to my leg workouts in lockdown. Now obviously in lockdown, training is a little bit different to training in the gyms because we have to find ways to progressively overload and structure our sessions without the use of weights. So what I'm going to be doing is running you guys through the leg session I went through today and going over the key points that I'm using as far as structuring my session goes, as far as progressive overload goes, to ensure that I'm making gains even though we're currently in lockdown. So starting off from the top, we're going to start with the session structure. So essentially how I structure my legs workout. Now this is also very similar to how I structure every single workout, so whether I'm in the gym or at home, I tend to structure this the same way. So I always start off with a key compound movement. So whether you were training chest, for example, this could be an exercise like the dip, or if you're training back, this could be an exercise like the pull-up, or in this case for legs at home, a super easy, intense compound movement that I'm doing is the pistol squat. The pistol squat is a one-legged squat. I find this extremely useful because A, it's really difficult, therefore I have a lot of room to improve, and B, it also targets quite a large muscle group, i.e. basically the quadricep and the glutes. So what you want to be doing is you always want to be starting your workout off with the key compound exercise, and the reason for that is A, you're going to have the most energy, so your technique or your form is going to be the best, and B, you really want to ensure you are performing this exercise to your maximum ability, and in order to do that, this requires maximum energy. So obviously doing this at the start of your workout is going to provide you with the most benefit. Then I move on to, as opposed to a strength focused exercise like the pistol squat or my compound movement, I move on to some more hypertrophy focus movements. So in this case for legs, I've chosen the Bulgarian split squat. Now the reason I've done this is because again, it's an extremely difficult movement, something that requires extremely good technique, i.e. putting all of the weight on the front leg you are working, and it can be easily progressively overloaded at home. So this includes, as you can see here, I'm using just some weights I had lying around, but again at home you can use super simple stuff such as books and a bag. Literally, I think my school bag weighs about 10 kilos, mate, so chuck that on your shoulders and use that. Or other extremely useful pieces of equipment you can pick up are literally like dumbbells from like the warehouse, mate, super simple, or resistance bands as well are also great methods of applying resistance. And then as I progress through my workout and get to the end of the workout, I'm working in a much higher rep range. So I start the workout with my strength focused compound movement at about an 8 to 10 rep range, move onto a hypertrophy focused rep range in the middle of the workout at about 12 reps, and then I finished with a more isolation focused rep range of about 15 to 20 reps, and those are for those small muscles at the end of the workout. Now the reason this works is because, again, relating back to the whole energy thing, you have the most energy for your extremely important compound movements that you should focus on progressively overloading, and then as you progress through the workout, obviously your energy diminishes and you move on to slightly easier isolation movements where you're really trying to focus on that mind-muscle connection and that burn. So essentially, to recap the structure of the workout, you want to start with a compound movement, at a slightly lower rep range. I recommend 8 to 10 reps. Then move on to a hypertrophy focused movement at a rep range of about 10 to 12 reps, and then finish with some isolation movements at a rep range wherever you feel comfortable, but I tend to work at about the 15 to 20 rep range. Now, moving on to the most important factor of any training session or training program is progressive overload. Now, I've often talked about progressive overload in different ways you can progressively overload. Simple stuff like time under tension, technique, top sets, or even the simple, most popular methods of progressive overload, which is increasing the volume and increasing the weight. So in my case, for my key compound movement, i.e. the pistol squat, initially in lockdown, I was starting off doing this compound movement with no added weight whatsoever. Simply my body weight was enough. However, through lockdown, as I've gotten stronger, I'm now able to do this movement with an 8 kilo kettlebell. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm increasing the intensity every week. So for example, last week I did 3 sets of 8 reps. Now this week, in order to increase the intensity, I did 1 set of 10 reps and then 2 sets of 8 reps. So I essentially increased one of those sets by 2 reps in order to increase the intensity. Now you may be wondering why I didn't increase the number of reps on all of my sets, because surely if you can, doing more volume is better. That's not entirely true. What you actually want to do with progressive overload is slowly progress. You want to progress with as little improvement as possible. So as long as you are progressing and making gains, you don't actually want to overexert yourself, because the thing is that if you essentially go as hard as you can, maximum intensity from the get-go, where do you go from there? You essentially can't progress past what is your maximum ability. So I find that if I can gradually progress over the week, so for example this week I did 1 set of 10 reps and 2 sets of 8 reps, the following week I'll do 2 sets of 10 reps, 1 set of 8 reps, and the week after that I'll do all 3 sets at 10 reps. Then for my hypertrophy focus rep range, because I was also doing a lot of volume, what I decided to do was add in a superset. So I superset my Bulgarian split squats with resistance band squats. Simply adding 1 set of about 8 reps is more than enough progressive overload. And again, with my hypertrophy focused exercises, similar to my compound exercises, I can gradually increase either the volume or the weight in order to progressively overload. Now obviously at home, progressively overloading the weight can be difficult, so that's why I'm applying the methods of progressive overload in terms of increasing the volume, i.e. the number of sets or reps, and also increasing the intensity by adding a superset, which in this case was resistance band squats. Something I've also found extremely useful is pairing up both hypertrophy focused training and explosive style training. So one of the exercises I've integrated into my legs workout is essentially a resistance band squat where I do 6 reps and I superset that immediately jumping into 6 reps of explosive jump squats. I find that mixing both fast twitch muscle fibers and extremely fast twitch muscle fibers is super useful. It's super fatiguing on the legs, and I just find that personally for me, mixing both hypertrophy and explosive movements gives my legs better gains in the long term. Then towards the end of my workout, obviously now this is the higher rep range, I'm focusing on usually 15 to 20 reps. So for these rare deadlifts, I believe I did 2 sets of 20 and 1 set of 15, and then the following week I will be doing all 3 sets of 20 to make sure I'm progressively overloading, and then I finished off with calf raises. Don't forget to do those small little isolation movements. Anyway guys, I hope this video helps with some of your training methods, whether that's in the gym or in lockdown. These methods can be used universally across the board. These are the methods that I'm using for my leg workout in lockdown, the ways I'm still applying progressive overload despite the lack of weights. My full legs workout will be in the description, the exact legs workout if you want to follow it. If you want more fitness tips like these, make sure you subscribe and follow my Instagram at Tim Johnson Fitness. Feel free to send me a DM. I'm more than happy to answer your guys' questions. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next week. Adios.